All right, hey everyone, my name is Kai and we are here today. We are gathered here today to attend a webinar for iClone and how to create your own scene and animate it. So in this webinar, we're basically going to be going from start to finish. We're going to be talking about going from the beginnings of our scene to create our own scene, creating everything from props in the scene and kind of organizing them, copying and moving stuff around. I'm going to show you how to do all that stuff. And after we're finished all of that, we're going to actually bring in some characters, we're going to animate them, and we're also going to do some camera work as well as some lighting. So we got a lot of stuff to take care of in this webinar. We're going to do away with the traditional PowerPoint to introduce iClone to you guys. So if you guys need any introduction to iClone, if you're not an iClone user as of yet, I'd recommend checking out our website, reallusion.com, and there's lots of other stuff you can find, lots of information you can find there on iClone and what it can do for you guys. So yeah, welcome to our webinar, guys. We're going to just go through all the stuff like I mentioned before. The entire thing is going to be a live demo. We have a lot of stuff to go through. Now, if you have any questions during this webinar, please feel free to enter them into the questions panel as part of your GoToWebinar window there. There's a little questions panel, and you just pull that out, put in your question, and we'll get to those during a 10-minute Q&A session, maybe 10, 15-minute Q&A session at the end of this webinar. So any questions you have, whenever they pop up, just put them in that panel, and we'll get to them at the very end. In addition, we're going to be sending out a link to this webinar for the video, so if you guys don't catch some stuff, if I'm going too fast for you, just you can just relax. You can either put a question in the questions panel there, or we'll send you the link to the video so you can review it later and pause it and slow it down and whatever you want. And in addition to that, we'll also be sending out a survey to you guys because we want to know what you think about our webinars and how we can improve them in the future. Anything you like or want to improve, please feel free to give your feedback to us in those survey forms. We're going to be emailing those out to you. And as a reward for your time for filling out the survey, we'll be providing you with a $10 gift certificate for the content store. So a little bonus for you there. You can get some stuff for free in the content store or put it towards something else. Anyways, I think that's about it for the introduction. We're going to get started by introducing the scene first. So like I mentioned, we're going to be creating the scene, animating it, and going from there. Okay, so let's go ahead and play back. So we have a couple of characters here.
So, were you able to get the documents I asked for?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. So where are they?
You will get your documents as soon as I get my money.
I see. Clever girl.
Okay, so these are just some like some basic kind of cheesy gangster scene that I created from scratch here. We have a couple of creator characters going back and forth, and you may be able to notice that their voices are pretty yeah, kind of text generated, so it's text to speech. Now, if you want to find these kind of text to speech options, or you can actually purchase them. You can use the text to speech from our Reallusion website. If I go to tts.reallusion.com, right here on our browser, you can see there's avatar text to speech on demand, where you can there's a whole bunch of different various languages and voices to choose from. You may have noticed that the older guy had an accent there, kind of like a British accent, and there's a whole ton of different languages and accents that you can use. You can purchase them from here. Or, I mean, you can just use your own voice. If you have a great voice, or if you have any voice actors handy, you can go ahead and, work with that as well. But anyways, that's basically what we're going to be recreating here. Now, you may recognize this scene if you've explored around iClone. You may recognize this scene as one of our iClone embedded scenes. So I'm going to just bring this over right here. We're going to start a new project. We're going to start this one from scratch. So under the projects here on the top left-hand corner, I'm just going to go to scene. And in project scene, there's this lounge right here. So I'm just going to double click that lounge. We don't need to save the current project. And this is basically where we're going to be taking most of our assets from, most of our props and stuff like that. We're going to be importing them into a new scene. I'll show you how to kind of create a scene from scratch. All right, so you see this. We have a whole bunch of lights on the side. We can just close those down. We don't need to worry about that. If we go into our scene manager here, a whole bunch of stuff. Now there is an image layer. This lounge, this text on the bottom is just an image layer basically, so we can just select that and delete it, and I'll get rid of that. And let's just change to a preview camera real quick here. And here's our entire scene. You can see it's a nice little lounge right here. And if we want, I mean, we can get rid of all of our lights too. we can actually enable these lights here that we have right now. I'm not sure if they're not, there's no intensity on these lights. Let's just go ahead and keep it this way. Now I'm just going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do first is take the roof off of this lounge. So I'm going to click the roof area there and just delete it so we can kind of see inside. All right, so we have this kind of, you know, smoky, dimly lit looking lounge right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some assets from this lounge and we're going to save them into our custom props folder. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is click on this section over here. You can see the little yellow outline box there. I'm going to press the W hotkey. And notice if I move it around, it's actually going to move the entire wall along with the bar. And you can notice that if we zoom in a little bit, zoom in a lot here, you can see there's like some, you know, wine bottles and whiskey glasses and stuff like that on the bar. And you can see in the scene manager here, we have wall 04 selected. If we twirl this down, you can see we have bar, which is the bar area, and you can move that bar separately if you want, separately from the wall. You can see right here. There you go. So once you select a subprop, you can move that subprop separately. I'm just going to Control Z and undo that. And under bar, there's wine coolers. So we can move the wine cooler separately here. All right. And that's just kind of, and then we can go into here, and there's wine, like individual bottles of wine that we can move out right here. Maybe a little bit dark. Let's see if we can't boost the light up here so we can see this a little better. Let me just bring this light over here. There we go. Now we can finally see what I'm talking about here. All right, and yeah, and then also underneath here there's a bar table, and underneath the bar table there's the high chairs. You can move the high chairs individually. So in this scene, everything's kind of attached to each other, and that's kind of a convenient way if you want to move like large props at a time. You can basically just attach them to each other and move them all together at once. All right, so let's go ahead and save this out. I'm going to just select my wall right here, and I think it's in the correct position. Oh, let's Control Z a few times. Oh, never mind. Let's just move this back to here where it was before, approximately. And what we're going to do now is we're going to save out this wall. Okay, so I'm going to go to my Content tab now. I'm going to go to Props, into my Custom Props folder. Under Props, I'm just going to go ahead and save this. And the way I'm going to save it is I just need to go, with that selected, I just need to go here and select this plus button. All right, so with this, it's going to basically be saving all this stuff underneath my wall right now. And we'll just call this, you know, A_wall, because I want it to appear at the top of my custom tab here. So I'm just going to put an A in front of it. We'll call it A_bar wall, okay? And just press enter, and there's A_bar wall, okay? And let's do the same thing for the rear wall here as well. So you can see we have this wall back here. We can move that, and everything's attached to it. If we move it around, yada yada. All right, let's Control Z and put that back into place, and do the same thing. Make sure I deselect. I can just click in here and deselect that first wall, and then press the plus button again. Nope, didn't deselect. Let's try and, okay, hopefully that'll work. And I don't know what's going on here. Move this over. Just have to basically click in an empty space there, and then press the plus button. And if I do it, there we go. And I'll name this other one A_far wall. How does that sound? A_far wall. Okay, just so we know which wall is which. And then we have all those two walls together. And I'm also going to go ahead and save out a window as well. If we go in here, this wall, under Scene, I can just go into here and select the window. So this is just the window by itself. And what I'm going to do is, instead of having all this nonsense in the wall, I'm going to just save this window as a separate wall by itself. So with the window selected, I'm going to go to Content, and again, just click on the empty spot there, press the plus button, and we'll call it A_window. Once it finishes loading up. There we go, A_window. All right, so now we have three different props. We have a window, we have a far wall, and a bar wall. And what the other thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this little kind of sofa area with all the sofas attached to each other. Just Control Z that, and do the same thing. Again, just press plus, and we'll call it A_sofa. That should be good. And this is the last one I think we'll save. I think I have the other stuff saved as carpet. Yeah, carpet, and we'll find the other stuff anyways later, a little bit later on. Table set. Okay. All right. So I don't want to bore you by saving too much stuff, but that's how you can save out custom props there. All right. So that's basically about it. That's all we're going to save. So let's go ahead and start a new project now. Now we're going to start from scratch. So probably for the next 10 minutes, we're going to be assembling our scene. So the first thing you want to do is I'm just going to double click on this A_bar wall. Okay. And notice that when I double click on that and add it into my scene, it's going to add into relatively the same location that it had before. You can notice that because this little kind of cross section here, that's called the scene root with the green, blue, and red axes right here. Okay, that's called your scene root. And you'll notice that if I apply the far wall, if I double click on the far wall, it's going to go into the exact same position that we had before. Okay, so no additional movement needed for these two. And let's go ahead and load in this window as well. So let's see what happens when I load in the window. You can see the window loads in, kind of strange. And the reason for this is because the window is actually scaled in a different way. And I'll explain more about that later, but let's go ahead and just position this window. So I'm going to use the E hotkey and rotate it like this, bring her up like that. And if we go into the scene manager, under window, you can see we have the blinds that are kind of like a little bit far out. So let's just select all the blinds and let's move those closer in to the actual window itself. There you go. Okay. So sometimes you may need to do something like that, and then we'll select window, rotate it this way, and notice that when we rotate it, we want to have 0, 0, and 0 on the z-axis over here. So make sure that all your rotation values are 0, 0, 0 over here. And if we press reset and 0 out, that'll reset all of the movement values as well. So generally you want to keep everything to 0 before you position it. All right, and let's press the R hotkey, and we're going to just scale this. All right, so the height is looking okay. We can probably scale a little bit shorter, so maybe down to about there. And then we'll scale it this way as well. We want to make sure we scale it so it's about that distance between the two walls. And then we'll just press the W hotkey, move her over here, and there we have that wall with the windows on it. Now if I want to copy this wall to the opposite side, it's really easy to do. All I need to do is hold down the control key and click and drag, and that'll make an exact copy, an exact duplicate. And you can see here it's a window with one in parentheses after it, okay, as opposed to the original window. All right, and then we'll just rotate this 180 on the z-axis. All right, there you go. And we'll just place it into position right there. All right, so we pretty much have all of our, our 4 walls. Now we need to create a floor. Now for the floor, the reason I didn't save out the floor is I'm going to show you how you can actually find a floor using your primitive props. So let's go to the Content tab, under Template, under Props, and under that twirl down, there we go, under 3D blocks, we have a folder called Wall and Floor. So we can, these are easy walls and floors to add in. So I'm just going to double click this floor 001, and what that should do is apply to my scene root. There we go. Took a while. And you can see that, yeah, great, we have this nice floor. Now if I want this to kind of click into the corner, snap to the corner, what I can do is I can press Control P, and that'll take me to my preferences here. That's Control P. And then you can choose this Snap to Model option. You can also use the Control M hotkey, which I'll use from now on. Okay, just wanted to show you where it is. Control M. And now if I move this around, it'll kind of snap into place. You can see if I bring it to the edge of something, it'll kind of snap, 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 snap into place. So let's snap it into the lower left corner here. I'm going to press the G hotkey to get a direct overhead view. That's the G hotkey. And you can see I need to resize this floor to match with the rest of the stuff. However, if I press the R hotkey and I try to scale it right now, notice that it'll scale from the pivot point, which is in the middle. And we don't want that because we want to kind of just scale it from the bottom left, just to make things easier. So let's press Control Z and undo that. And with our floor selected, let's go down here to pivots. And in pivots, you can just select a corner right here. Let's just select maybe back and select a corner. Maybe this one. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky, depending on which, there we go, front and this lower left one right here. And now if I press the R hotkey, what will happen is I can scale it from that corner just like that. Okay, and I can scale it up like this. So it makes it a lot easier to get the exact position or the exact size that you want correctly. All right, so boom, there's our floor. All right, floor taken care of. All right, we got windows, floor. We're going to skip the roof because we're not going to really worry about too much about the roof in this tutorial. You can always add a roof and make it invisible if you want. If you want to do that, just press the W hotkey. I'm just going to copy the floor. So Control, click and drag, copy the floor. Boom. And because we still have Control M, the snap to model on, we can just kind of Control M and turn that off really quick. Place it up here. There we go. And then we can make it invisible just by going up here and selecting invisible. Boom. All right, so now we have a roof, but it's invisible. And if we don't want to be able to select the roof, we can just go down here and right here, just lock it. Press the lock button. All right. If it's locked, that means you can't select it. All right. So just so you have it for future reference, but you don't want to select it, so just press the lock button. Okay. Cool. All right. So let's select the rest of our stuff here. Let's bring in our sofa and all that fun stuff. So let's go to the Content tab, Custom, and a sofa. I'll just double-click that. And there's our sofa section right there. And I have a carpet, I believe. I'm just going to double-click the carpet. And the carpet can probably be raised a little bit. Just click and drag that up a little bit. There we go. Got a nice-looking carpet right there. All right. We can always resize the carpet and reposition it, whatever. We're not going to worry about that, though. And then we also have these table sets, I believe. If I saved them before as table sets. Yep, okay, so I'll click and drag table sets in. And press the G hotkey to get a direct overhead view. Let's put some nice table sets over by the window here. Now, if you want, you can press Control K, and that'll bring up your multiple duplicate tool. And you can just kind of, duplicate as many copies as you want, just using this method. If we want more, we can put in 3 there. And you can see that we can, move these all around. You can press E and you can rotate them into a pattern if you want or something like that, which is kind of cool. But I'm just going to kind of keep them straight here. We'll just have everything at 0, 0, 0, 0, and that's good to go. So we'll just press OK. You can also decrease or increase the spatial offset as well. All right, but we'll just kind of leave it uniform at 1. Okay, and press OK. So now we have a bunch of table sets over there in the corner. All right, so that's pretty easy, pretty simple. Let's see, what else do we need to do here? I think that's about it. Oh, let's actually add one more section down here. So I'm going to select the floor. And with the floor selected, I'm going to press W. I'm going to copy the floor again. So I'm going to Control, click and drag. Create another copy that's a little bit lower than our regular floor. And then we'll change this one to a middle. Go to middle and middle pivot point. And let's stretch this one out from the middle. So press the G hotkey again. Press the R hotkey. And stretch her out. So I'll create kind of like a balcony or a patio, I guess you can say, on the outside. All right. And that should be good right there. Okay, so now we have a nice patio on the outside. Okay, so that's pretty much all we need to do here. It's really simple and easy to do all that in less than 10 minutes. Now let's go ahead and apply some textures here. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start with the actual floor. So with the floor selected, I'm going to go over here to Materials. Now what you can do is you can just load in a material map in your diffuse channel. So I'm going to double click in the diffuse channel. And I need to find my folder. I believe Production Resources. You'll likely have different folder structure than this, so don't follow this one right here. And there's a marble floor that I found earlier. HIJKLM. Where's my marble? Oh, here we go. Okay. I think this one might be okay. Let's hope so. No, let's use a different one. There's a different marble one that I have in mind here. Marble tile. That could work as well. I think there's one I selected earlier. I forget which one it is now. Perhaps this one. All right, we'll work with that one because it looks kind of a bit more, a bit better. Now you can see the tiles are super large. Obviously, we don't want the tiles to be that large, or if you did, you know, you can keep those. But another way to make the tiles a bit smaller is to change the UV tiling. So say, for example, we put 10 down here under tiling and 10 again. Then we get tiles that are like this. All right, so we get smaller tiles, just like that. And you know what? I think that looks fine. Maybe we can change it down to like 8 or something so the tiles are a little bit larger. There we go. Okay, so we have this nicely tiled floor. All right, cool. So let's do the same thing for the patio. But for the patio, I'm going to use a substance texture. These are embedded with iClone. You can find those under Media, under Material, and under Substance. Now, I have this additional Substance Power 200 pack, which I really recommend checking out from the content store. But you have these substances that are embedded with iClone. And there's a wood one, I believe, somewhere down here. Where is it? Wood planks. There we go. So we'll click and drag the wood planks on there. And obviously those are way too large, so let's do the same thing. However, now with the substance texture, you can notice that the diffuse and bump and everything like that, they have little flames from logarithmic substance in the bottom left corner to indicate that they are substances. And then you have a couple of options down here under substance when you import in a substance texture. First of all, I'd recommend changing the output size to at least 1024 or even 2048 just to get a higher resolution for your texture. There's a couple things you can do. You can decrease or increase the number of boards to 10. You can change the depth, normal, emboss, all these values right here. And generally, that's what you can do there. And if you want, you can tile these as well. So let's tile it, maybe 5 by 5. Okay. So then again, we have, this nice tiling on the outside with these wooden planks and so on and so forth. And if you want, then you can, decrease the number of boards or increase the number of boards. Okay. And there you go. All right. So, and you can also change the angle like this as well. Okay. So cool. We have a nice patio. We have a nice floor. Now what we're going to talk about next is we imported in the sofa already. I'm going to actually just delete some of the stuff on the sofa because for our scene, we're not going to have a couple things here. So under table, let's take off the beanbag, delete. And this sofa over here, this sofa with 1 in parentheses, we'll delete that one. So we just have 2 sofas with a nice, table in between. Good enough. All right, so after the sofas are taken care of, then we want to, basically that's our scene set up from there. Okay, so we have our general scene set up, took about 10 minutes and all the textures and everything like that. Now let's bring in our characters because now what we're going to do is we're going to animate our characters. And so let's go to content. Actually, I have these saved in a special folder on my desktop already. Let's find webinars here. There we go. All right, so we have this mercenary, kind of like, what's her name from the Avengers? Scarlett Johansson. Black Widow, I think her name is. Anyways, forgive me if I'm wrong there. Okay, so we have this female character in right here. There we go. All right, and you can see maybe her feet are kind of a little bit through the ground. So what you want to do is bring those a little bit up. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Okay. And then we'll bring in our gangster dude. So let's bring in the gangster dude right here. I call him Gangster Man and bring him in as well. And once he's in, what we're going to do is animate these characters. So the next step here is we're going to animate everything. All right, so I'm going to bring him a little bit over here. He's going to start in this position over here, and we're going to bring him up a little bit as well. Let's press our / key to move our lighting over here so we can see things a little bit better. That helps. Okay, so here's our nice looking scene. All right, and what we're going to do is animate the characters. So this female character, we're going to have her sitting down, so we're going to rotate her around using the E hotkey. Rotate this direction. Make sure she's rotated at a 180 degrees. I like to keep things at good angles right here. There we go. So let's kind of position her over here on the sofa. And this old man is going to be walking towards the sofa. So we're going to rotate him this way. And then he's going to sit down once he's finished his little walkity-doo, we're going to have him sit down on the sofa right here. Okay, so, gosh, things are pretty white here, I guess. You know what, let's take this carpet, and I didn't notice the carpet was so white since the lighting is on. Let's take the carpet here and just change the color a little bit darker. How about a nice tan? Yellow tan. Oh, there we go. Maybe that's not a nice color. So maybe I'm being a little bit crazy here. What's a good color for a carpet, guys? Let's make this color. Okay, good. And then we can just go ahead and use our pick material, pick this, and then paint this one right here. Okay, good. By the way, that's how you can easily transfer textures from one to another. Use the pick and the paint tools right there. Okay, good. Okay, it looks a little bit, apologies for the color of the carpet. I'm not an interior designer, so, all right, anyways, let's go ahead and just, whoops, we accidentally made the, be careful. We don't want to make the guy's suit the same color as the carpet. That would be embarrassing. All right, so let's take our female character first. Go to Content, and under Motion, I'm going to go to, we have some mixed moves motions that are included with iClone. However, I really recommend checking out our mixed moves pack on the content stores because we have a lot of other stuff that you can have as well. Now this mixed moves female, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. You can also use the mixed moves animation tool as well, but for this case I'm just going to apply these motions from the motion library here. Now the first one we're going to have the female just basically sitting down, so there's an idle to sit somewhere here. There we go. Idle to sit 01. Just apply that to her. Okay, so she should be able to sit down there. All right, I think that, she's maybe a little bit off the ground, but we're going to just fix that later. Actually, let's make sure she, at the very first frame, she could be a little bit closer to the ground. There we go. It's this bushy carpet. It's this 1970s style carpet. All right, so let's just work with that. Okay, good. So now what we want to do is we want to have our gangster character walk towards the sofa. And for this one, I'm going to choose character creator, mixed moves male. And there is a, what is it called? I believe walk to sit. So let's go down here. You can see there's tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff here. I'm going through them all right here. Walk to sit, okay? So we'll just apply that to our character. And he's like, hey, dude, you're walking the wrong way. So, he's going to be walking over there. Obviously not the direction we want him to go in. So let's go ahead and press the stop button there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click this character, select Remove Object Animation, and then I'm going to press the E hotkey and rotate him this way. And what we're going to do is we're going to reset his position. Basically what that does is it resets his root position. And we're going to just move him to this direction right here, make sure he's walking towards the sofa, and then apply the same motion. And then he'll walk in the correct direction. Okay, and whoops, we didn't put him close enough, so he needs to be about a little bit closer to the sofa before we press that. So let's just move maybe over here. And then if we let's go up to our timeline, maybe a little bit closer. There we go. Okay. And then notice that when he sits down, he's going to sit at an angle. He's not going to be really facing the female character, which is kind of rude. So we want him to be, the correct direction. He can be even a little bit closer to the action as well. There we go. Okay. But now notice as well that he's sitting at an angle. So what we want to do here is, as his right foot is planted before he sits down, what I want to do is, at this point, I'm going to press F3, go into my timeline here. Gosh, that carpet's pretty ugly. And then we're going to go ahead and select Transform. Just double-click in the Transform track, okay, and that basically starts a Transform keyframe. And then you go to here, as he's at the ending position of his turn right here, and then just rotate your character. Press the E hotkey, rotate him like this, and we're going to bring him out a little bit, like that. And then he'll sit down. Now his feet will slide, and we need to fix that as well. So he'll sit down right here, His feet will slide. Now, one way we can, an easy way to fix this that I like to use is I like to use dummy objects. So at this frame right here, what I'm going to do is you can see his right foot is planted, and then it kind of slides. We don't want that right foot to slide, okay? So we want basically to import in a prop. I'm going to just choose under props, 3D blocks. We can just choose like a ball, whatever we want. Bring that in. And we're just going to use this as a dummy for like placement of his legs. So I'm going to press the R hotkey, scale that down. And man, this carpet is really, really thick. Okay, so basically what I do is I put the sphere at the heel of the foot that's planted. So just something like that. Okay, and then it's going to select right-click, remove object animation, because we don't want any animation on that. So right there. And I think, you know, that position is not really going to change. So let's select our character, our dude right here. Transform keyframe right here. Transform keyframe right there. Good. Okay, and then what we want to do is, after he finishes sitting down, we're going to add another transform keyframe. So, right there. All right, I want to make sure that his leg is still right there, and he's, you know, rotated this direction. Okay. He might be a little bit close to the edge of the sofa, but we'll just, you know, say he's, you know, comfortable close to the edge of the sofa. All right, so now we'll have this. All right, so he'll turn around, plant, and, you know, go from there. Okay, and good. Okay, so there we go. And his butt's a little bit far off the seat here. You know, so what we can do for that is just really quickly, motion tools, edit motion layer, because you can really see the shadow underneath there. Before he sits down, we're going to open up the track for motion layer, which is the motion layer tool. And again, if I'm going through this too fast, you know, feel free to ask questions later on, or you can just review it a little bit later on. And so then I'm going to select his hip right there and move him down. There you go. So now he is, whoops, firmly seated on the ground. Okay, so one keyframe, boom. All right, now I'm going to just take this carpet down. Actually, this carpet's really annoying me. Where's the carpet? There we go. Let's move it down a little bit since it's you know, really thick rug. A little bit further down, maybe something like that, and then our floor will move down our floor a little bit as well. There we go. Just take things down a peg. All right, once we have all that positioning correct, then we can just go ahead and delete our dummy as well. Right? So this is what we have so far. We have both characters sitting down at approximately the same time. If I play back really quickly here. Okay, now they're ready to face off against each other. All right, so that's the body animation for our characters. Now what we're going to do is we're going to you know, get our animation done, our facial animation. So once they've been seated, excuse me there. Okay, once she's been seated, I believe the old man has the first line. Now I've saved these out as MP3 files. Again, you can use text to speech or whatever, but let me just double check this. Is the correct one? Okay. Yeah. So the man starts off the conversation. Okay. All right, so here with the man selected, we're going to just go ahead and zoom in on his face. Now we're not going to worry too much about lip syncing in this webinar. We don't really have time for it, but we may have lip syncing webinars in the future, right? If you want to request that, go ahead. All right, let's go to animation here and create script. All right, and again, you can use your own voice. You can use text to speech. I'm going to use an audio file, and that audio file is in a totally different directory. Been working on something else here. And let's go to number 1, okay? So
were you able to get the documents I asked for?
All right, so once he's finished, then we'll just go ahead and select the female and do the same thing to her. Create script, audio file, 02.
Yes, I did.
Yes, I did. And the next one up is the guy. Create script, audio file, 03.
Excellent. So where are they?
The plot thickens as we move along with this dialogue. Where are they? Create script, audio file, and 04.
You will get your documents as soon as I get my money.
All right. Nice challenge there. And select the mail and create script, audio file, 05.
I see. Clever girl.
All right. I see. Clever girl. And that's pretty much it for our dialogue. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to have our characters look at each other. All right. So now what we want to do is at the very first frame, we don't want our characters looking at each other. Well, we can have them looking at each other at the first frame. For example, the female character should be looking at him as he approaches the table, I think. So at the very first frame, with the female selected, go over here to your Edit tab and go down to Look At, pick Target, and pick this dude's head. Right? So now she's looking at his head, and she'll follow him as he moves along over here. And now at this frame, maybe this guy starts to look at her, maybe as he starts to turn around, you know, maybe about here. We can have him pick target, look at her. There you go. All right, so over here you can see he gradually begins to turn over and look. His head turns a little bit before his body turns, which is a little bit more natural. And then he has a nice seat right there. All right, cool. So we have our characters looking at each other, which is fine and dandy, okay? All right, and so after that, we're gonna have some facial animation with some expression, all right? So let's go with the character seated. We're gonna start with the guy, with the male character. I'm gonna press the J hotkey, and the J hotkey will allow you to focus on our character's face. He's looking pretty creepy right there. All right, so we're gonna do the lighting a little bit later, so don't worry about all this stuff. Okay, so with the male character selected, where's his first dialogue? You can see it starts somewhere over here. If we open up the Resizing track, which is the track for the audio clips, you can see the audio files right there. So right here is where he starts.
So, were you able to get the documents I asked for?
Okay, so we're going to say he's trying to be like a little bit intimidating right here. So we're going to go to Motion, and we're going to choose Face Puppet. And with the face puppet selected, we can choose, you know, all sorts of different expressions. We can make him happy. If he's happy about the documents, there you go. If he's angry, so, you know, he's looking a little bit tough right there. That's probably the one we want. We can even make him worried. So now he's a bit more worried, and maybe he's ecstatic. All right. Okay, so you can just select all these different profiles here and press space to preview them. And yeah, there's different profiles here as well, like the female profiles. This one, Slacker, is a pretty strong one. You can see it's more almost cartoony or cartoon-like, maybe for like the Joker or something like that. And this one's like sad, very sad. Anyways, you can have fun with that on your own time. I'm just going to go ahead and use this one and use the angry profile. So I'm just going to go ahead and press record. We're going to have something like this.
So, were you able to get the documents I asked for?
Yes, I did.
Excellent.
Okay, so when he says excellent, we're going to have him like have a different facial expression. So what we want to do is close these down. We're going to open up the expression track. So the expression track is where the facial animation saves.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so right here I'm going to right-click this and break the clip because we're going to delete the section we don't want. So after she says,
I did.
yes, I did. And he's like, excellent. So he's going to be happy, right? So we'll use this happy and then excellent, excellent. Or maybe we'll just use the regular happy one because that one's a little bit, you know, too happy. All right, so let's go ahead and press record.
Excellent. So where are they?
You will get your documents as soon as I get my money.
And then here we'll have him just, you know, maybe a bit more smiley. Record.
I see. Clever girl.
Okay, so he flashes that, you know, creepy looking grin. Okay, all right, so you can modify those clips as much as you want. We have other tutorials on that. Now let's do the same thing for the female character. So we'll close down this and select our mercenary, press the J hotkey, and whoops, facing the wrong way. There we go. All right, she looks relatively more beautiful than that ugly old dude did. So then we'll just press play.
So, were you able to get the documents
Okay, so let's do this a different way. So as he begins talking,
So,
she's going to be kind of just, we're going to do face puppet. We're going to choose Natalie's profile for a female character. And then we'll choose the angry profile. She looks a little bit like distrusting there. I like that kind of look on her right there, okay? So let's just go ahead and record that and play back, press space.
were you able to get the documents I asked for?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. So where are they?
You will get your documents as soon as I get my money.
I see. Clever girl.
Okay, so I mean, just recorded an entire clip, an entire puppet clip for that entire conversation there. Now that's facial puppet, and I mean, you can add a lot of stuff to that as well. We don't really have time for that in this webinar, but what I'm going to do is we're going to add some direct puppet to these two characters. So direct puppet is a kind of a very easy and subtle way that you can add, you know, just a little bit of body movement really quickly to your characters in a conversation. So as an example here, we're going to select our male character, and let's play back. He sits down, looks at the character.
So.
He's going to say so. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to basically just use our direct puppet tool now. This direct puppet tool. I'm going to select my character's chest and select primary rotation. And what happens here, this is a really good one to use for like creating your own idols. I can just press space.
Were you able to get the documents I asked for?
You can see we can kind of make him rotate around like this.
Excellent.
Now obviously we don't want him to do something like that, but as he's saying so, maybe we can have him lean forward so he's a little bit more invested in the conversation. So let's go ahead and press record and do that, okay? So just record.
Were you able to get the documents I asked for?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. So where are they?
You will get your documents as soon as I get my money.
I see. Clever girl.
Okay, so I mean, we just added a little bit of animation to that. You can see it adds a puppet clip in your motion track right there. And if you want to layer on top of that, you can do so as well. So if we wanted, you know, additional head animation, we can select the head, for example. We can,
Were you able to get the documents I asked for?
We can move the head separately.
I did.
Excellent. So where are they?
Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and layer on top of that. We're going to start right here at the first frame of this clip right here. Let's just select that keyframe right there and press record.
Were you able to get the documents I asked for?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. So where are they?
You will get your documents as soon as I get my money.
I see. Clever girl.
We have him nodding a little bit when he says clever girl. All right, so then it's basically created another clip. You can see we added a little bit of like head rotation there just to make it a little bit more natural, okay? We do the same thing for the female character. So let's go back to the female character. Have her sitting down, so play back. And after this, we'll get to some quick camera work and then the lighting, and then we'll go to our Q&A session. Kind of running out of time here.
So, were you able to get the documents I asked for?
All right, so let's have her direct puppet, chest, primary rotation, and record.
Yes, I did.
Excellent. So where are they?
You will get your documents as soon as I get my money.
I see. Clever girl.
Okay. You know, if we wanted to say yes, I did, when she says yes, I did,
Yes,
we can have even just select her head, primary rotation, record.
yes, I did.
Excellent. So where are they?
And then just press space when we're finished with that. Okay. And then it created another, well, it's just, sometimes you don't want to make your clips too messy. So maybe just, you know, click and drag this one onto that one as well. That'll kind of help keep things a little bit more organized.
Excellent.
And let's make sure we have we might have overwritten that.
Yes, I did.
Excellent.
Okay.
So where are they?
Just wanted to have a solid shake of the head there. All right, so Camerawork is the next item of business. So what we're going to do is add 3 cameras. Really quickly, create camera. I'm going to create camera right there. Create camera. And create camera. All right, and our first camera is going to be called our establish shot. So I'll just double click on that, call it establish. Second camera, we're going to call it, we'll call it old dude. And third camera, we'll call it mercenary. Okay, so establish camera we're going to do first. Okay, so let's select establish camera right here from our cameras. And for this one, we're going to zoom out. Don't worry about the other cameras right now. Let's select our male character there. And we're going to go from like a view, something around here, maybe up, kind of a bird's eye view, like a slight bird's eye view. I'm also going to go over here to render, and I'm going to change my frame size to 1280 by 720. All right, and we'll keep it at that, so it's a little bit wider. And so let's go ahead and play back. Now, as our characters sit down right before they begin talking, I'm going to pause right there, and we're just going to move our camera down like this to the side. All right, and we'll choose something like this, maybe a camera position like this. This is a very good camera position for, like, confrontation or something like that, right directly beside two characters facing each other. All right, and if I close this down, if I open up my camera track, where's the camera? Oh, there we go. Let's toward down our props. Camera, there we go at the bottom, establish. You can see what happened is I added two keyframes in the transform track. If I play back, we're going to have an establish shot like this. Okay.
So,
and if we want that camera to last, or that movement to last longer, we can click and drag this, and it'll just kind of go even slower. Now, one thing I like to do is right-click on the keyframe for the transform tracks in the camera and select transition curve. And I like to ease in and ease out a little bit. Okay, so it'll basically just have a very slow movement at the beginning, and then in the middle it's going to move fast, and then it's going to ease out as our characters sit down. All right, you may not be able to notice it on the webinar, but it does make a nice subtle difference for camera movement. All right, now let's position our cameras, our other cameras. So let's select old dude. Let's go to old dude camera right here. This camera is going to be focusing on the old dude, so let's select cameraman, focus on him by pressing the F key, and we're going to have an overhead view, or over the shoulder view it's called, OTS, camera perspective. What we want to do is first at the, okay, let's just get our camera settings correct first. So I'm going to select old dude right here. Let's just keep that position. And another thing I want to do is you can press the U hotkey to switch from your camera, last selected camera, to the character. All right, and I'm going to choose a very high focal length like this, because we want to, like 200 right there, because we want to have this over the shoulder shot focusing on our old man right here. Okay, so this is a very typical shot you see in a conversation between two characters. All right, now we want to keep this transform keyframe at the very beginning, so it's always going to be right here, because we're not going to switch to this camera until later. Okay, yeah, guys, moving around a little bit, but anyways, okay, and then we want to position the other camera as well. So let's do the same thing. In addition to that, what we want to do is we want to activate our focal distance, our depth of field for this. So we want to select activate, and we want to have pick target, our focus range right there. We can change our focus range to something like 500, just to make the female character in the foreground a little bit more blurred out. And we can, probably move it a little bit further up, something like that, okay? All right, we'll just work with that. And then what I'm going to do is take all the keyframes in the transform track and bring them down to here. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing for the female mercenary camera as well. So let's do the same thing for her, but this one's going to be focusing on her. All right, and we're going to have looking over her shoulder. Let's make sure that we have it as a 200 millimeter camera as well, and it's going to be focusing on her. That'll work fine right there. And press the U hotkey, get back to our camera. Activate depth of field, pick target, pick her, and change our focus range to 500. Right, and it'll kind of blur out everything else in the background there. All right, And let's open up that camera track, mercenary, and just bring everything to here. All right, so it's going to maintain that position and all those values. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to switch them up. We want to switch the cameras. So there's a switcher track right here. In the very first frame of the switcher track, what I want to do is right-click and select Camera List, select Establish. Okay, so this is going to be our first camera right here. And let's just go ahead and play back. So let's choose Establish right here first. Play back. All right. So right here is where, after he says so, right here is where we want to switch to our camera for the old man. So right-click there again, Camera List, Old Dude. All right, and then we can just change this from Establish to Switch, actually. All right, so now it goes from Establish to the Old Dude.
Were you able to get the documents I asked for?
Okay, now we're going to switch to the female character, mercenary.
Yes, I did.
Excellent.
Oops. When he says excellent, and then we'll just, after he says excellent, we'll switch to the male character again, Old Dude.
So where are they?
You will.
And then when she says you will get your documents, switch Camera List to mercenary one more time.
Will get your documents as soon as I get my money.
All right, and then right-click again, Camera List, and Old Dude. Final shot.
I see. Clever girl.
Okay, now I know I went through that pretty fast, but basically it's just, right-clicking and switching the camera. Because we want to do one more thing before the Q&A session, and that's the lighting, because the lighting looks pretty crappy. And this is this is the main focus of making this scene look good. All right, so we have two main lights in our scene right here under our scene tab. Let's just twirl down all of the stuff that we don't need, all the props and cameras now. We have these two main lights, key light and a rim light. We can just get rid of both of those by selecting these activate buttons and deleting them. And I'm going to use some prop lights from our props in the content tab right here, or in our content library. So let's go to light tool down here under props and our light tool. There's a couple of easy lights that you can add in. I like this pendant lamp. Let's click and drag that pendant lamp in here. And if we press the W hotkey, we can bring that up right there. Ooh, looks creepy. All right, and bring it to the relative level that we want for the height of our ceiling to be. Something like that. I don't know where the ceiling is. A little bit. Okay, we'll just estimate it right now because I'm not going to spend too much time on this. All right, and I want to make sure it's directly above. If I press the G hotkey, directly above my table. It's fine. All right, let's press the F hotkey for a side view, and then there we go. Okay. So pendant camera looking good. We can increase the brightness or decrease the brightness of that quite easily. Let's keep it on switch view and kind of take a look at how each character looks. So the male character looks okay. Female character, her face may be a little bit dark, So if you kind of come across a situation like this, what you can do is just add in a separate light, which I tend to do. So we'll just go ahead and, create a separate light. And this one we're going to call it a point light. Okay, point light does not cast shadows, right? So it's just used for kind of ambient brightening up the scene. So let's choose a point light. You can see it adds in right there. Let's change to our preview camera really quickly, so we're not recording any of this camera movement. Let's move this right about here, right in front of our female character. Now obviously it's way too strong, so let's change the multiplier to 0.5. Maybe something small like this, and it's right in front of her face, and we want to keep the range really, really small because we don't want to light anything but her face. So keep the range really small, something like that. Okay, just so we have some light on her face. Probably bring that a little bit. Well, you don't have too much of a reflection in her eye, but maybe increase the range a slight bit. Okay. I'm going to work with that. Okay, so at least one side of her face is well lit. All right, and then we can change the color to something a little bit darker, a little bit more tanny. Okay, and then right-click, remove object animation. All right, because we want that light to stay there for the entire time, but we don't want it to be visible. So let's go ahead into our scene manager and make it invisible. All right, so now if we go back to switch right here, here's what we have. Male guy looks fine. Looking at her female. Yeah, okay. You know, she looks okay until she leans forward, and then when she's here, she's okay. Okay, we'll just keep it like that. Okay, a little quick fix for the lighting that you can't see. All right, and I think that's pretty much it. So I'm going to just play this back really quickly for you guys, and then I'm going to do the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, you know, feel free to put those in the questions section before I get to the Q&A. Let's play this back one more time using the switch camera view. Oh, we need to change it to here since we're on the switch camera right here. Let's just let's go from here. All right, and make sure all of our cameras as well are invisible because we don't want to see the cameras in the scene, obviously. And play back. That's what we should have.
So, were you able to get the documents I asked for?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. So where are they?
You will get your documents as soon as I get my money.
I see. Clever girl.
Okay, the lip syncing could obviously use some work, but you know, that's for another webinar because we're running out of time here. So we're going to get right to the Q&A session here. We have about 10 minutes for that. So if you guys have any questions, put them in the questions panel, and we're going to get to that right now. So first question is from Dwayne Conyers. Basically talking about the difference between iClone 5 and 6. I can't move this. There we go. Okay. So Dwayne is asking about a manual, online or printed. So Dwayne, for the user manual or for help with you know, iClone 6, all you need to do is go up here to help, and there's the online manual right there. You can also use the F1 hotkey, and that'll take you to Explorer, and it'll open up the whole can of worms, and you can spend hours and hours exploring all the fun stuff that iClone is all about. So hopefully that answered your question there, Dwayne. And it looks like I have a question from Granny J. If you detach the window before you save it, won't it then come into the scene in the proper location and pre-scaled? Okay, so this had to do with the window that I imported in earlier. Detach it before you save it. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Generally, if you want to have something separately, then you want to detach it from the scene, from, you know, other stuff in the scene before you save it. Now, the reason I did that is because I kind of want to show how you can adjust that manually, adjusting the scale and everything like that. If that stuff comes up, then you have to set it back down to 0 and scale it manually and all that stuff. But Granny J makes it a good point. With the window that I imported in, what you generally want to do is keep things really simple, detach it from everything that it's currently attached to in your scene, and, you know, scale it. Make sure that everything is like 0, 0, 0'd out. For example, if I select the wall, you can see here, make sure everything is 0'd out. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Obviously, the move position is, transform position is different, but before you save it, make sure everything is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's always good practice when you're saving props. Make sure that your prop doesn't have any parents or children or anything like that in the hierarchy. Not literally. Props can't have children. All right. Anyways, question from Yazdi asking, how can you change characters' head to somebody like Hillary or Donald? Well, I mean, that's for head creation, and that head creation is normally done in our app called Crazy Talk 8. So in Crazy Talk 8, it allows you to create your own 3D head from a picture. So you can take any 2D image you want, and you can turn it into a 3D head, and then you can import that 3D head into iClone. Now, we may incorporate that into Character Creator in the near future. I can't confirm nor deny that, but right now, Character Creator or Crazy Talk 8 is the way to do that. All right, so you can check out Crazy Talk 8 on our website. Okay, so Subdiacon Gerhard asks a pretty good question about iClone. Can you open all substances in the format of algorithmics, or only those with iClone? So basically, if you go into iClone here, and let's find the dock the questions panel here. Let's find our, oh, we don't want to do that. Let's change to our preview camera first so we don't ruin everything. Let's select our wooden panel right here. If you go to materials, what you can do is you can go ahead and save this out as a material, and it'll save an iClone material file. And that'll kind of just flatten, it won't flatten all the substance material. So if I just go to test, for example, and save that out, it'll save as a substance material, but it'll save as an iMaterial. So importing in substances by yourself, like if I go over here to, I guess that's still saving. Hopefully this doesn't crash my computer. All right, there we go. In the content tab right here, if you want to see the substances, you can simply just right-click on them and select Find File. And you can see their iClone character creator SBSR files. So they're kind of like a special substance file. I don't believe at this time that we can import in regular substance files. I believe you have to purchase content packs from the content store with substances in them. But yeah, so these are separate types of files. They're not substance files, obviously. So keep that in mind as well. You cannot simply just import in a substance file directly, unfortunately, at this point, although we may improve that in the future. All right, because we just added substance in iClone 6 as well, so we're still working on developing that. So Frank asks, where are those characters from since you missed it? I just made them up myself in Character Creator. Very simple to create, super easy to use. Okay, so Steve has the same question as Subdiacon right there. Now, I want to mention as well that we may have the option for this in the future, and it might be in the very near future. So you can email me with that question, and I may be able to answer a little bit better for you guys as to where it is in the stages of development. But just email me privately. That's kai@reallusion.com, K-A-I, and I'll be able to answer those a little bit better for you guys, for all the substance users out there. You can import them in a different way, but we'll talk about that you can guys just email me about that. All right, so another question, are G6 figures obsolete because of Character Creator? G6 characters, yeah, we're not really developing G6 characters anymore. But Character Creator format is the format that we're going to be going with from now on. So yeah, make sure that in the future all of your characters are in Character Creator format, because that's the one that's compatible with Character Creator, obviously. And you cannot import in G6 characters into Character Creator, unfortunately. So keep that in mind. They all have to have the Character Creator base. So that answers hopefully the next question, that there will not be a converter from iAvatar to Character Creator at this moment. I mean, although that is a good idea. Except the technical stuff behind that is really difficult. You'd have to really change the base completely, unfortunately. So yeah, I don't think that would be possible to convert iAvatars to Character Creator at this time. Another question about 3D Exchange, is it able to save figures as Character Creator? No, 3D Exchange is used exclusively for conversion of FBX, OBJ, all that stuff into iClone format and vice versa. And in the future, 3D Exchange may be integrated into Character Creator as well, or into iClone. I'm not sure which one. All right, it's just to make it easier on people, so they're not separate applications. Okay, so one more question. Will there be a solution without dummies to make a figure walk without slipping in the future? There's tons of different solutions for preventing your character from slipping. Dummy is my favorite one, because it's just super easy to do. It takes like 30 seconds to do for me. Now you can obviously align your character to the right or left foot in certain situations. But that's a whole other can of worms that I don't want to open right now. Now, another question is, which is better for expressions, Crazy Talk or iClone? You can't really, they have the same facial animation tools. I honestly prefer iClone just because I'm so used to working in iClone. I don't use Crazy Talk that often. Crazy Talk's a really simple program. It's has a very easy learning curve for beginners. iClone, has a bit more detail to it. There's a bit more flexibility and intuitiveness when it comes to the tools, which I tend to like. But as far as expressions, you can achieve both with either Character Creator iClone or Crazy Talk. However, keep in mind that if your characters have morph targets on their face, otherwise known as blend shapes or morph targets, they're going to have more detailed facial expressions. And there's a number of different tutorials that I can recommend to you guys. One really good guy that I like on YouTube right now, his name is 3D Test. He often does a lot of really good tutorials. 3D Test here. Let's just type in 3D Class Test iClone. Should be able to find him. Yeah, just type in 3D Test iClone. You'll get this guy here, 3D Test. So I'd really recommend checking out this guy's channel, subscribing to his channel. He has a lot of really good tutorials that talk about facial animation, lip syncing, as well as blend shapes and everything like that. This guy is going to be like a gold mine of information when it comes to lip syncing and facial animation. So check out this 3D Test user right here for facial animation. Okay. Saving camera presets. Unfortunately, there's no way to save camera presets at this point. And there's no fast way to find standard camera positions for head and body at this time either. Now, one thing that I want to mention before is, say for example, if we select our character, like the mercenary, if I press A, it's going to give me like a side view like this of my character. If I press S, whoops, if I select S, it's going to give me the opposite side. So A, S, D, and D is like a far away front view, and then F is a closer front view, which is covered by the sofa right now. G is a direct overhead view, and then there's J as well, which should be a face view, and then K is like a kind of a scene view, right? So basically your home row, with the exception of L and J, I think, all have different presets for camera movement. So keep that in mind. It's really good for super fast camera movement. All right, we've got to get to a lot of these questions here. Light presets can't be saved, unfortunately, at this time either. You've got to kind of enter those in manually. Now, question from Tanji, how would you upload a scene to a website? You'd probably have to export it to a video format, and then you need to upload it as an MP4 or whatever you want from there. All right, so you have to export it as a video format first before you bring it to the website. All right, James says, thanks for the webinar. You're learning a lot. Awesome, James. Thanks for attending. Thanks for sticking with it and learning a lot. So a question, how can iClone help for Unity? Tons of ways. We have lots of people using iClone together with Unity and Unreal. I personally use iClone with Unreal for a lot of my projects because I'm a bit more familiar with Unreal. But yeah, I mean, the pipeline is super fast and super easy for facial animation, body animation. Use it all the time. Okay, Anthony asks, are there fading effects using the camera in switch mode? Fading effects. Now, maybe you mean like dark to light or something like that. I mean, you can use those effects. If you go over here to, where are they again? Gosh, I forget. I always forget where these stupid things are. I believe they're in 3D Scene Effect. Okay, 3D Scene Effect. There's like a color filter, color adjust. So you can keyframe all these. If I enter in, let's see, color filter, for example, you can see the whole thing will turn kind of reddish. And if I go to my timeline right here, whoops, this questions panel is getting in the way. There is an effect, I believe, somewhere here. There should be an effects track. Oh, maybe not. You have to open up the projects. Yeah, projects effect right there. There you go. Okay. And, once you've selected it, you can go to visual, is it? I haven't done this in such a long time. You should be able to, select the color filter, And where's my, oh, weird. Add a keyframe there. Is it Visual tab? Gosh, I haven't done this in such a long time. Oh, over here. Shadows, I think it may be in there. Or is it this one? Toon Shader? No. Post Effects. There we go. Okay. So under Visual, Post Effects over here, you know, you can keyframe, add green, add blue, and, you know, add all the kind of colors of the rainbow that you want, and then color adjust under Visual, change the brightness to black. So you can fade it in and out this way, brightness, you know, and that's keyframeable. So if I go to this frame and then I increase the brightness like that, if I play back, it's going to just brighten up like that. So again, you have to do that manually, but that's how you can, you know, add effects. So it was a little bit sketchy on the whereabouts of those effects there. So hopefully that answers Anthony's question there. All right, Mike says he enjoyed the webinar. Thanks, Mike. I'm really happy that you guys enjoyed it. And you know, my goal here is to kind of provide you with the easiest and fastest ways to accomplish things in your workflow, because I know a lot of people, you know, time is of the essence these days, especially with deadlines and everything like that. So when you have a faster way to do things, you know, and you're more familiar with the software, it makes it a lot easier on you. Okay, so so Paul actually asks, is there a way to import the entire scene into Unreal 4? Now, unfortunately, at this point, there's not, but we do have plans for that in the future. But right now, the only way to do that is to kind of like attach everything to a dummy prop, I guess. You can see that before everything was attached to this wall. And you can basically select all the walls and just attach it to a small little sphere or something like that, and just use that as your scene hierarchy father, I guess, whatever you want to call it, and you can save it out that way. It'll just save it as one big prop. But we don't have a separate format for scenes. All right, so MK asks, if you import another head, can you do it after placing in the animation? Yeah, basically, you know, heads are interchangeable, and the animation won't change. So you know, let's have some fun here. If we select our female character here, let's give her a different head. Oh, the scene is looking really red right now. So, you know, there's RL heads in the content manager under avatar heads. You know, RL head, or no, rather body part, I believe now. Where's where it is? Accessory, maybe? Where are the heads now? Or maybe I just don't have enough heads saved. All right, I think it's under head. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So these are all RL heads. Yeah, I just don't have enough heads saved. So, you know, you can just take any head, basically. This one's not going to, yeah, it's not going to apply because this is actually a separate format. But if you have like an RL head saved out, which I don't happen to have in this case, maybe I do have it in my webinars folder. Let's see. I think this might be a, nope, no RL heads here. I think we have a Patrick Stewart RL head. Nope, still no RL head format. Sorry, guys. But you can normally just bring an RL head and click and drag it directly in. None in here either. Huh, crazy. Okay. One more, please. This is on RL head. All right, so we have one of RJD and import in head only. Okay. Robert Downey Jr. That's what RDJ stood for. So we basically import this in. We're going to give her the ugly face of, you know, this Robert Downey Jr. that's obviously not complete yet. This is just directly from Crazy Talk, and we haven't modified it. But probably not someone you want to see, you know, obviously nice from behind, but from the front, maybe not so nice. Anyways, okay. That's how you can use, you know, import in RL heads, and the animation will remain the same. Just click and drag the RL head from Crazy Talk or whatnot. All right, and where did my questions panel go? Bring it out here. Okay, so we got a few more minutes, guys. We're going pretty much way over time here. I'm going to kind of skip to the important questions here because we have about 2 or 3 minutes left. Granny G asks about a hotkey list. Hotkeys can be found in the manual, I believe. You just search for like hotkey, I think. Hotkey, maybe. Yeah. I can't find out where it is right now, but oh, here we go. Keyboard shortcuts table. So there's global shortcuts. All your hotkeys can be found in this global shortcuts section right here. That's really helpful. I use hotkeys all the time, you know, just to make things a little bit faster. Okay. Can you export a project from iClone to Crazy Talk Animator? No, unfortunately, you can't export from iClone to Crazy Talk Animator, but you can export from Crazy Talk Animator to iClone. The animations, anyways. So, or sorry, no, rather, iClone animations can be imported into Crazy Talk Animator. All right. So if you have like a 3D animation, you can apply it to your 2D character in Crazy Talk Animator, and your 2D character will do like a 3D animation, which is really cool. We developed that, I think, late last year, which is pretty interesting. All right. So we had a request for a 64-bit version of 3D Exchange. I'll write that down here because I write down feedback for future versions. 64-bit 3D Exchange. All right. Okay, and I think that's about it. That's about all the time we have for now. We don't have a question from Philip really quickly. We don't have any Alembic tutorials coming in the near future. We will have those maybe for iClone 7 when things change, but for now that's all we have. And people asking about iClone 7. We can't go into too much about the features of iClone 7 right now, but we will have physically based rendering, which is one of the coolest new features. Crazy Talk Animator 3 is coming out really soon, next couple months here, which I'd recommend checking out. A lot of cool new stuff with that. Yeah, but that's about it, guys. We're about 20 minutes over time here, so I'm going to end off the webinar. Again, any questions, just email me at kai@reallusion.com. You can also check out our forums over at forum.reallusion.com. We have lots of awesome users there who participate in the process of, or in the community. They can help you out and answer any questions you might have. As well, make sure you fill out the survey, the survey we're going to send out, and we'll give you a certificate for the content store, 10 buckaroos. You can spend on whatever you want. All right. So thanks so much for watching, guys, for attending, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And I'll hopefully see you in the next webinar.